Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'in wa ala umri tijawatin. Wassalatu wassalamu asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi washabbihi ajmain. Honorable the presenter or notaker, respectable for all of audiences. First of all, let's thanks to our God Allah who has been giving us some mercies and blessing until we can attend in this place. Secondly, salawat and salam always be given to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, today I, as the chairperson, I would like to lead this agenda. Okay, the first agenda is presentation. The second agenda is Q&A, and the third agenda is the conclusion. Okay, let's start from the first agenda. Is the presentation will be delivered by Mr. Fawaid. For Mr. Fawaid, time and place is yours.
Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, let me share the screen. Okay. Thank you for the chairperson for the opportunity for me to be talking here as a presenter. So, what the topic? What is the topic I I have chosen? It's nativism and behaviorism. Why do I choose this topic? It is because uh, last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, our lecturer have us read about nativism and behaviorism, and I think I will include my knowledge to this topic because the lecturer, let's be honest, didn't actually explain a lot, just a little bit. So, nativism and behaviorism. I will simplify this so you can understand. Okay. Nativism. What is it? Nativism believes, excuse me, beliefs is a learning theory that believes children's development depends on heavily on hereditary, genetic, and natural ability. What is hereditary? Hereditary is what we have from our parents. And what is genetic? Genetic is our biological feature like height or how big, how wide our shoulder, how our face looks like, and etc. And natural ability, like the ability of doing sport or good at math or something like that. Children's talent is a feature since their birth. So, nativism believes that uh, skill or talent is basically a gift from our birth. Nativists also believe that children should be taught what they have natural talent in, or do not teach fish to climb a tree. As our uh, the as Albert Einstein ever said that everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. For example, if Albert Einstein is physical genius, a physics genius, mathematical genius, if you uh, if you try to teach Albert Einstein, for example, to play a basketball, he wouldn't be as great as he was back then. That's the point of nativism. What is the purpose of nativism? To know the talent someone has and to then develop it. to develop better education system, and to help choosing decision. And these are the drawbacks. Generally works well with someone who already knows their potential ability, not someone who doesn't know yet. So this is what usually happen in our society, because not everyone has the same, what is it, the same opportunity to reach their dream. For example, if someone is not, although it's not an excuse, if someone is not from a rich family, they will not likely to reach their goal easily. It will be a hard road for them. Also, uh, nativism believes someone's trait or character is fixed at birth. If someone is evil person is destined to be evil since their birth. This is the most extreme case of nativism. They believe good people are good since their birth, and bad people are bad from their birth. So this is what they believe. But what we have to believe that our religion say that we we are all born as holy. We are born without sin. So that's what our religion say. And what's the factors? There are three factors. In my opinion, genetics or biological feature, children's potential ability or their talent, and children's growth. Genetics, how someone looks and shapes. For example, how uh, how ha, how much you hate someone's height is depends heavily on genetics. If you are if your parents is not aren't tall, yeah, you won't be tall either. There is a chance, but very little. Another example is your face. Maybe uh, they will not change your whole life. Another one is muscle belly. What is muscle belly? Muscle belly is the amount of muscle stretch from one point to another. Someone is shorter, someone is a little bit longer. So if someone has a shorter muscle belly, if they flex like this, the bicep will pick. And then another one is how someone's feel. Uh, Many people believe that mental fortitude or mental toughness depends on genetic. It's a trait from your birth. So if you are likely to be what scared of everything, likely you won't be a brave man later in your life, like that. And also hormonal profile. It both hormonal profile both uh, hormonal profile affect both your physical and your feeling. If someone, a man, has a high level of testosterone, he will likely become a big muscular guy and more like more less likely to be depressed. And there are other example I cannot give because the time is short. The other one is potential ability. I wrote here multiple intelligences like spiritual intelligence, like logical and mathematical, like kinesthetic bodily movement. Like I said, if someone like Albert Einstein uh, is was taught to be a basketball player, he wouldn't be as great as he was. And the other one is mental growth and physical growth. Oh, so someone's growth, someone's how he become, how he will become a great man depends on his or her growth mentally and physically. If it's optimal, likely he or she will become a what become a better person if uh, 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 I'm sorry, she or he will become a better person than someone who are hindered the mental or the physical growth. Okay, nativism in action. LeBron James has the genetic, the biological feature. He is 2 meter and 8 centimeter, 2 meter 2.08 centimeter. He has the genetic to be the greatest, and also he has the skill to be the greatest. So here, uh, LeBron James can be one of the greatest basketball player alive. Also, bodybuilders are the prime example of genetic is everything. So this is where I start to realize that we are all different, really, really different. Our shape, our ability is from bodybuilders. Not everyone can be bodybuilders. Why? Because the amount of muscle we have or how our muscle shape usually it's not usually it's definitely genetic. Someone has only 2 packs or of abs. Someone has 4. Someone has 6 or 8 or even 10 packs. It's genetic mostly. And here is Tosin Abasi. Tosin Abasi has an unmistakably unique style of playing. Why? This is a little bit strange because Tosin Abasi's thumb is really bent back, like really, really bent back. So when he plays with guitar, nobody can actually what copy the style of playing. And he also has the talent. So even though he never really take lesson in music, he becomes he becomes a great player. So some question you might ask: do you need to give up? What do you think? I think not. I think not. Do not give up. Do you need to compare yourself to other individual? No, absolutely not. And what do I do then? Okay, this is what usually happen nowadays. We all usually very focused on social media. We open Instagram, and there we see people uh, have having a good life or having a good body, and we become envy of it. Don't be. We are all have different abilities, different shape. How you shape, how you shape does not equal your value. Your value is your value. Be a good man. Do better than last time. If you are, uh, if you want to be the smartest person in your class, just learn longer or harder. If you want to be a better player in futsal, maybe just train harder and longer, like that. So be the best version of yourself and do not ever compare yourself to other people, because you won't be other people, you are you. Be the best version of yourself. Okay, the next, behaviorism is, I'm sorry, okay, it's a psychology and learning theory about modification of behavior as a way of learning. Behaviorist believes all humans are born as tabula rasa or blank state, blank slate. I'm sorry. It's like we all born equally. We didn't know anything when we were born. Okay, and it believes learners develop or learn through conditioning. Okay, I will explain in a bit what is conditioning. Determiners, surrounding, environment. Determiners are usually called stimulus, something that affects us, and it neglects our internal thoughts like thinking or emotion, and it doesn't really believe that human has free will. We are all just like animal maybe, because uh, one of the two of the research using one dogs and one baby, both didn't have yet free will to begin with. So it's safe to say that free will is not important for behaviorists. Okay, next. There are two kinds of conditioning, classical conditioning and operant conditioning. In classical conditioning, there should be subject, stimulus, and neutral. Okay. There are this experiment in the past on classical conditioning. The first one is Pavlov's dog. So Pavlov had a dog. Every time he fed the dog, he rang the bell. Ring ring, he fed the dog. The second time again, ding ding, he fed the dog until to the point that when he ring the bell and didn't give a food, ding ding, there is no food, but the dog start to salivating, start to drool. So the dog usually drool because of the food, but even if the food didn't exist, yeah, uh, it stimulated by the sound. The second is Little Albert. Little Albert is 5 years old who didn't actually scared of mouse. Yeah. So his father, I forgot the name. He was a researcher also. The researcher uh, show Little Albert a mouse. Little Albert didn't scared. But what a children scared is loud noise, isn't it? Yeah. So every time he show a mouse in front of Little Albert, he rings a plate, if I'm not mistaken, really hard. Dang, 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 dang. Okay. So the kid starts to cry. Every time the father show a mouse, Little Albert will be will be listened, will be heard metal plate bang. So bang, 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 bang until Little Albert, like Pavlov's dog, when he saw a mouse, he scared. He scared because of mouse, not because uh, the the loud the loud noise anymore. So he became scared of mouse because of conditioning. Like me, I have my experience too. When I did not really afraid of caterpillar, but when I was young, when I was a children, like maybe 6 or 5, yeah, every time my mother see a caterpillar, she scream, and I fear the scream. Until recently, until recently, I scared of caterpillar, even though I don't scared of the scream anymore. So that is the classical conditioning. The next is another real world example. For example, Novita, if you have a boyfriend, maybe just figuratively speaking, your boyfriend tell you, hey, I want to meet a friend. I want to meet a friend so I can work on assignment together. So that's a neutral, the neutral stimulus, not even stimulus yet. And then you find out that your boyfriend cheated on you. Yeah, you found out that your boyfriend cheated on you, and then every time your boyfriend or you have another boyfriend who say, hey, I want to meet with my friend because I want to work on assignment together. That will trigger your emotion. That will trigger you into not believing that your current boyfriend will actually meet someone to work on assignment. Yeah. Another story is it doesn't hurt. What does it mean? Why I just said? Because if you ever go to a doctor to be what to be injected by syringe, yeah, a vaccine or something like that, the doctor or the nurse will tell you, come on, it won't hurt. Yeah, kan? She or he, the doctor or the nurse will tell you over and over again, even if you do khitan. Yeah. What is khitan? I'm sorry, I forgot. Circumcise. If you are about to be circumcised, the doctor will say it's just a little bit hurt, like bitten by a man or something like that. But bam, when it happened, you get injected by something, or your genital is, I'm sorry, the genital is uh, cut. Yeah, it hurts like hell. And then every time you heard the word, it won't hurt much, like that. You know it's gonna be hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot. Yeah. Okay. So that is in real life, we usually what is it? If I may say, in my opinion, conditioning is learning. Classical conditioning is learning from experience. If I, in my opinion. Okay. Next. The second one is operant conditioning. What is operant conditioning? It's conditioning that involves reinforcement and punishment. What is reinforcement? Reinforcement is anything then that makes you want to do something more likely doing something. And what is punishment? It's self-explanatory. Punishment is something that makes you less likely to do something, to do that thing. Yeah. Okay. The variation, positive reinforcement. Positive is okay. After this, little bit, we will take a break after this. Okay. Positive reinforcement. Positive means giving something, and the other one is negative reinforcement. Negative is taking something away. What is positive reinforcement? Use maybe when you have a good grade and your mother in at home compliment you or giving you something you like, or ice cream. Hey, you got a good grade, so I will buy you ice cream. This is positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement, because ice cream is the reinforcement. Giving is positive. And then what is negative reinforcement? For example, you have a good grade. Again, your mother say, hey, you do not need to uh, wash the dishes or wash the clothes this week because you have the good grade. Because usually every week you wash your clothes and your parents' clothes, the whole home's clothes, and then your mother take it away from you as reward. You don't need to do that because you have good grade. So just enjoy the week. What if positive punishment? Positive punishment is giving punishment, like maybe striking a kid. Maybe it's not relevant today, but in my experience, when my mother did a mistake, usually my grandfather uh, beat a stick on a wall. For a kid, it's very scary, even if it's not hurt, but loud noise scared them. The other one, negative punishment. What is negative punishment? Usually, maybe you I'm sorry, you watch television for an hour every night, and then you got a bad grade. So your mother say to you, "Hey, you had a, a bad grade. So I think I won't allow you to watch television anymore." Maybe like that. That is taking away something as punishment. Okay. So where do you need to stand?
Okay, I'm sorry for Mr. Fawaid, because the time is limited. Maybe we will take a break and then we will continue again.
Okay. Let me have 5 minutes again. Okay, 5 minutes more. Is
Okay,
it okay?
thanks.
Okay.
Come on.
So where should you stand? Where do you stand? In my opinion, I mean, in my humble opinion, you don't need to choose one over another. You don't need to be a behaviorist, purist of behaviorism or purist of nativism, because you need to open your mind. You have to stand between them, because we know that maybe if you are behaviorist, you will, if you are a fan of something, more likely you will close your mind. So just open your mind. That is my my advice or my opinion to you. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I will give the place back to the chairperson. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you for Mr. Fawaid as the presenter. Okay, let's do the second agenda is Q&A. Maybe for all of you want to ask to Mr. Fawaid, please up your hands up.
Okay. Maybe we take a break first because the time is running up.
Yes, maybe we will close it and then we will continue again. Okay, we come back again to this agenda. Okay, we next to the third agenda is Q&A. Maybe for all of the audiences will ask or give the disagree or what, maybe from Navita, Fauzi, or Izam Topiki.
I want to add something.
Yes, please.
Thank you. I wanna ask to presenter. My question: does a child's language ability is aged on at birth or influence that environment? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Ms. Navita. Maybe for Mr. Fawad can answer it.
Okay, thank you. So the question was the children's ability on language. Is it uh, what is it? Hereditary, or is it uh, affected by the environment? So as far as I know, language is kind of a part of our biological system. So we have learned from introduction to linguistic that human has a biological feature in our brain to make or to recognize language, and there is uh, what we call critical period. So from the age of 0 to 3, usually children will learn language if they don't expose of they are not in the environment that use language like human. We use language, yeah. So if our children from the age of 0 to 3, they are exposed in the environment of the people that talks maybe Maduranis, the children will start to speak Maduranis as native. So the environment is stimulus for children for that age group, yeah, for that critical period. But does talent also affect the children? Yes, actually, because we know that linguistic intelligence is one of seven multiple intelligences. What is it? Language ability, language skill, or language talent in multiple intelligence includes uh, forming sentences, or maybe the ability to speak in front of people. What does it mean? It means some children or some people has the intelligence to make a great story like novel. Some can make novel, some cannot, but some can make a good piece of maybe scientific journal. The other one may be uh, really good at telling story about themselves or himself, like vlog, not vlog, blog, like personal blog, like someone the people have different abilities, different level of linguistic ability. So environment, does it really affect the children? Yes, actually yes, but to some degree, to the basic degree of language mastery, to talk like native. But maybe we speak Indonesia since our young age, yeah. Can I maybe make a novel or make scientific literature? Maybe not. Or poem? Maybe not. Or making a blog, self blog like diary? Maybe not. Because at some point I need a talent to make a novel, to form sentences that hook people like that. So maybe that is my question. Do you are you satisfied with my explanation, Novita?
Yes, thank you. I get the point.
Okay, okay. So I will get the place and time back to our chairperson, Mr. Adam.
Okay, thank you very much for Mr. Fawaid. Maybe they are can forgive the question.
Or maybe one of you has a different opinion on this subject, maybe.
How for the audiences? Okay, if nothing, uh, let's be close in this agenda. I'm as the okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, we next to the third agenda is conclusion will be delivered by Mr. Habibi. For Mr. Habibi, time and place is yours.
Okay, thank you, presenter, Brother Adam. And the conclusions of this presentation is nativism is a learning theory that believes children's development depends heavily on hereditary genetics and natural ability. Children's talents is a feature since their birth. Nativism believes that children should be taught what they have natural talent in. And the factors are genetic or biological features, children's potential skills or ability or talents, and children's growth. Next is behaviorism, a psychology and learning theory about the modification of behavior as a way of learning. Behaviorists believe all humans are born as blank slate or blank paper that we can write or give them any knowledge. The determiner factors from this theory is surrounding and environment. The neglected factor or ignored or it's not important factor such as internal thought or internal thought like thinking and emotion and free will. The final conclusion is you all stand between nativism and behaviorism. So develop your talents and keep learning. Thank you. Back to Chen person, Brother Adam.
Okay, thank you very much for Mr. Habibi. Okay, let's we close in this agenda. Okay, I'm as the moderator. If you find some mistake from presenter of no taker or the audiences, adalah saya say, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.